From the moment you entered this world, something invaluable was taken from you. It wasn't your money or possessions. It was your energy. It's subtle, almost imperceptible. Yet every day, you wake up already drained, move through life feeling depleted, and end your day wondering why exhaustion has become your constant companion. This isn't just a coincidence. It's not because you're weak or incapable. It's because the world around you has been designed to take, to extract, to feed off the very life force that fuels your existence. They've built a system so seamless, so woven into daily life, that you don't even realize how much of your energy is slipping away. You followed the script they handed you, worked hard, played by the rules, stayed informed. And yet, the harder you push, the more powerless you feel. It's like being caught in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But here's the truth. It's not your fault. This isn't about personal failure or a lack of effort. This is about a structure that thrives on keeping you tired, distracted, and compliant. Your time, your focus, your emotions. They've turned it all into currency, and you are unknowingly paying the price. But what if you could change that? What if you could reclaim the energy that has been siphoned from you? What if you could redirect it to create a life that's truly your own? That's what this is about. We're going to expose the hidden mechanisms that have been stealing from you in ways you never imagined. More importantly, we'll uncover how to break free. Because once you see the system for what it really is, you gain the power to escape it. Your energy is more than just the fuel for your body. It is the essence of your potential. And the moment you choose to stop playing their game, everything changes. Let's begin. Your energy is your most fundamental resource. Not just the physical energy you expend when you move or work, but your thoughts, your focus, your emotions, everything that drives your decisions, actions, and dreams. And yet, this resource, so deeply personal and powerful, is the very thing they have learned to exploit. What if I told you that every single day, your energy is being harvested? That the exhaustion you feel is not accidental but deliberate? The world around you has been meticulously designed to extract the essence of who you are. Your attention, your emotions, your focus. These are not just passive aspects of your existence. They are the fuel that powers a machine far larger than you. Energy is not infinite. Every thought you have, every decision you make, every ounce of attention you give costs you something. And those who control the system understand this better than anyone. They don't need to take from you by force. All they need is your focus, because where your energy flows, your power follows. Look around you. The world is built on distraction, carefully crafted to keep your attention fragmented. News headlines, social media notifications, advertisements, all screaming for your focus, all feeding off your time and emotions. Your anger, your sadness, your excitement. Each emotional reaction is fuel for their machine. But it doesn't end there. They've mastered the art of division. They create conflicts, political, social, even trivial ones, to keep you engaged in a never-ending battle. Look at politics. Every election cycle, you're given a choice. Left or right, red or blue. It feels significant, monumental, as if your decision could change the world. But has it ever? No matter which side you choose, the system remains intact. The rich grow richer, the powerful tighten their grip, and for most people, life remains the same. Because the choices you're given aren't real. They're an illusion, a distraction. They want you to believe you have a say, to keep you invested in a game where the outcome has already been decided. And it's not just politics. It's everywhere. Your identity, the brands you consume, even the sports teams you cheer for, all of it is a carefully designed battleground. You're told to pick a side, to argue, to defend your choice as if it defines who you are. But here's the truth. They don't care which side you pick. They only care that you are invested in the conflict, because as long as you're fighting, you're not questioning. As long as you're debating, you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not seeing how the system itself is the problem. They have created a world where division keeps you busy, where every headline, every trending topic is a tool to harvest your focus and keep you locked in their cycle. Even your sense of identity is weaponized. From the moment you are born, you are given labels: your nationality, your religion, your social class, and taught to cling to them. These labels become the walls of your mental prison, shaping how you see yourself and the world around you. And the stronger your attachment to these labels, the easier you are to control. Because when you see yourself as part of one group, it becomes natural to see others as the enemy. And when people are fighting each other, they rarely stop to question the system that created the conflict in the first place. This is the brilliance of their design. By keeping you divided, they keep you distracted. And by keeping you distracted, they keep you compliant. Every ounce of energy you spend debating, defending, or attacking is energy that fuels their system. So, ask yourself, are you truly making your own choices? Or are you just playing the role they've assigned to you? Are you fighting for freedom? Or are you caught in an illusion that keeps you locked in place? Because the moment you recognize the invisible system for what it is, the game changes. The distractions lose their grip, the labels lose their meaning, and the conflicts lose their power. That is the first step toward reclaiming your energy and your life. Fear. It is the oldest, most powerful tool of control, and they have weaponized it against you, not with chains or bars, but with constant reminders of danger, instability, and catastrophe. Every headline, every breaking news alert, every dire prediction is carefully crafted to keep you on edge. Why? Because fear bypasses logic. It hijacks your ability to think critically. When you are afraid, you are not reflecting. You are not questioning. You are reacting. And they know this. They have engineered a world where you are bombarded with threats, real or exaggerated, every moment of every day. Fear narrows your focus, keeps you locked into their system. It's why you feel glued to the news cycle, endlessly scrolling through social media, caught in the grip of the latest crisis. It's not just anxiety. It's by design. This manufactured fear keeps your body in a constant state of stress. Cortisol floods your system. Your heart races. Your energy drains. Living like this isn't just exhausting. It's destructive. Chronic stress breaks you down. It weakens your immune system, disrupts your sleep, clouds your judgment. Over time, it leaves you physically depleted and mentally paralyzed, unable to see the bigger picture, unable to make meaningful change. But fear is just the beginning. Once they have you emotionally exhausted, they hook you into the cycle of consumerism. They tell you that relief, happiness, security, it's all just one purchase away. Feeling stressed? Buy this. Feeling unsafe? Invest in that. They present products, services, solutions as your escape. But all they do is keep you chasing an illusion. Because consumerism is not designed to satisfy you. It is designed to keep you wanting. Look at the world of work, the 40-hour work week. the foundation of modern life. But does it make sense? Does it nurture your creativity, your well-being? Number. It is a cage, a cleverly constructed trap. You trade the best hours of your day, the best years of your life, for just enough money to survive, but never enough to break free. And then there's the debt cycle. Student loans, credit cards, mortgages. They lure you in with promises of opportunity, only to trap you in years, sometimes decades, of repayment. The system ensures that you are always working, always striving, always in a state of energetic deficit. It is a machine designed to drain you. But what happens when you stop? When you step back, stop reacting, stop consuming, and start questioning? That is what they fear most. Because the moment you recognize the truth, you begin to take your power back. And that is where true freedom begins. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you've been conditioned to believe, your struggles, your aspirations, even your fears, were never truly your own. The moment you step back and observe, you start seeing the invisible chains that have kept you bound. And these chains aren't made of iron. They're made of beliefs, distractions, and illusions carefully placed before you from the moment you were born. The most insidious trick ever played on humanity was convincing you that the prison you live in doesn't exist. They gave it beautiful names: security, stability, success. But at its core, it is a machine that thrives on your energy, keeping you locked in cycles that benefit everyone but you. You were given a script to follow, a predefined path, laid out for you before you even had a say in it. Go to school, get good grades, work hard, climb the ladder, save for the future, retire. But have you ever stopped to question who truly benefits from this system? Because it certainly isn't you. The education system wasn't designed to make you think. It was designed to make you conform. From a young age, you were taught to obey, to follow, to memorize facts without questioning the bigger picture. Creativity was discouraged. Originality was ignored. Instead, you were molded into a cog, a replaceable part in a machine that never stops consuming. And once you leave school, the real game begins. The moment you enter the workforce, your life is no longer your own. Your time, your talents, your potential, it's all sold off in exchange for a paycheck that's just enough to keep you working, but never enough to set you free. Think about it. Why does society place so much value on productivity? Why are you judged by how much you work rather than how much you live? Because your energy, your time, your very existence has been turned into a resource to be harvested. And the more exhausted you are, the easier you are to control. They dangle incentives before you, promotions, raises, status. But these are just breadcrumbs, leading you deeper into the maze. You work harder, believing that one day it will all pay off. But that day never comes, because the finish line keeps moving. The moment you reach one milestone, another is placed ahead of you. And so you keep running, chasing a future that is always just out of reach. But here's what they don't want you to realize. You don't have to play their game. You were never meant to spend your life as a pawn in someone else's system. You were meant to create, to explore, to experience life in its fullness. And the moment you stop giving them your energy, the moment you step off the treadmill, the entire illusion starts to collapse. But they won't let you go easily. The system is built on fear, fear of failure, fear of poverty, fear of rejection. They make you believe that stepping away means losing everything. that without their structure, you will be lost. But that's just another illusion. The truth is, the moment you reclaim your energy, your focus, your power, you become something they can no longer control. Because the system only works when you believe in it. But how do they keep you believing? Through one of the most powerful tools ever devised, entertainment. The endless distractions, the carefully curated media, the stories that shape your perceptions. Every show you watch, every song you hear, every viral trend you follow, it all serves a purpose. It keeps you engaged in a world designed to keep you blind. They give you heroes to worship, celebrities to admire, influencers to follow. They create artificial conflicts, staged controversies, endless spectacles to keep your mind occupied. But none of it is real. It's all a carefully crafted illusion, designed to keep you distracted from the only thing that truly matters, your own power. Because if you ever stopped consuming, if you ever turned your attention inward and asked the real questions, their entire system would collapse overnight. They fear your awareness. They fear your ability to think independently. And most of all, they fear what happens when you stop feeding their machine. But the most dangerous illusion of all, the belief that you are powerless, that you are just one person, too small to make a difference, that the weight of the system is too great, the game too rigged. That's the greatest lie ever told. Because the truth is, you are not powerless. You were never powerless. You were simply led to believe you were. And once you see the truth, once you realize that the only thing keeping you locked in place is your belief in the system, everything changes. The game ends. The power shifts. And for the first time in your life, you are truly free. But freedom, real freedom, isn't what they told you it was. It isn't just quitting your job or breaking away from society's expectations. True freedom happens in the mind first. Because even when the chains are gone, even when you step away from the system, the conditioning remains. The thoughts, the fears, the beliefs, they still whisper in the back of your mind, pulling you back into the illusion. This is why so few people ever truly escape. Because the prison isn't outside of you, it's within. From the moment you were born, you were programmed. Your mind filled with ideas of what is possible and what isn't, what is acceptable and what is forbidden. They made sure you never questioned beyond a certain point. They let you believe you had choices, but all those choices led back to the same path. And the moment you tried to step beyond that, to think for yourself, to see the world as it truly is, you were met with resistance. Not from them, but from those around you. Because the greatest enforcers of the system aren't those in power. It's the people who still believe in it. Your friends, your family, your co-workers. The moment you start thinking differently, questioning everything, stepping away from the norm, they will try to pull you back. Not because they are bad people, but because they are still trapped. And to them, your awakening is a threat. They will call you crazy. They will say you're wasting your life. They will tell you to be realistic, to stop overthinking, to just go with the flow. But whose flow? The flow of a system designed to consume you until there's nothing left, and so you have a choice. You can return to the comfort of the illusion, or you can walk the path that few ever dare to tread. But understand this, the path of truth is not easy. The moment you begin to see the cracks in the system, the moment you start unraveling the lies, you will feel lost. Because everything you once believed in will begin to fall apart. The meaning you found in success, in wealth, in achievement, it will all seem hollow. You will feel like you are floating in a void with nothing to hold on to. And that is the most terrifying part of awakening, because for the first time, you will realize that you are truly alone in your journey, that no one is coming to save you, that the system will not reward you for breaking free. There are no trophies, no celebrations, only the quiet realization that everything you once thought mattered doesn't. But if you can make it through that emptiness, if you can sit with the discomfort, the fear, the uncertainty, something incredible happens. A new vision of reality begins to emerge. A world beyond fear, beyond control, beyond the endless distractions. And you begin to see life for what it truly is. Not a race, not a struggle, but an experience. An unfolding of something far greater than what you were led to believe. Because when you strip away the illusion of the system, what remains is something they never wanted you to see. The infinite, the boundless nature of existence. The truth that you are not a slave to time, to money, to expectations. That you are, and always have been, something far greater than they allowed you to believe. And that is the greatest secret of all. Because once you know this, once you truly feel it in your bones, you become something they can no longer control. A being who sees through the game. A mind that cannot be manipulated. A soul that is truly free. But what will you do with that freedom? Because now, the responsibility is yours. No one can tell you what comes next. No one can give you the answers. The only thing you can do is step forward and begin to create your own reality. The question is, will you? There is a moment in every seeker's journey when they come to a crossroads. A moment where the illusions of the world begin to crack and something deeper, something ancient calls to them. It is not a voice they recognize, but it feels familiar. A whisper from beyond the veil, urging them to step further into the unknown. This is where the real journey begins. Up until this point, everything you believed in was handed to you. Your identity, your values, your purpose, all given by those who came before you. Parents, teachers, society, the endless voices shaping your mind before you were even aware of what was happening. And so, you built your life upon foundations that were never truly yours. You followed the paths laid out before you, convinced they would lead to meaning, to fulfillment. But what happens when you wake up and realize it was all a script? That the path was never designed for you, but for the system itself? What happens when you realize that your struggles, your dreams, even your desires were carefully orchestrated to keep you moving in circles? Most turn back at this point. They feel the weight of truth pressing down on them, and they retreat to the safety of their old beliefs. They convince themselves that the world is exactly as they were told, that there is no deeper mystery, no hidden reality beneath the surface. But for those who cannot turn back, for those who cannot unsee what they have seen, a different path unfolds. A path not marked by certainty, but by mystery. Because the truth is not a destination. It is not something that can be captured in words or given in books or taught in classrooms. It is something that must be experienced, something that must be felt in the depths of your being. And so, you begin to question, not just the world, but yourself. Who are you beyond the roles you play? Beyond the expectations placed upon you? Beyond the endless thoughts that arise and fade like waves upon the shore? If you strip away your name, your past, your beliefs, What remains? This is the question they never wanted you to ask. Because the moment you do, the moment you begin to seek the answer for yourself, you step beyond their control. You are no longer just a piece in their game. You become something else entirely. A wanderer, a mystic, a traveler between worlds. And with each step, you begin to see the world differently. You see how people live in a trance, moving through their days as if asleep. You see how they cling to their distractions, their identities, their opinions, as if they were life rafts in a storm. You see how they avoid silence, how they fear being alone with their own thoughts. Because deep down, they know that if they stopped running, if they sat in stillness, if they truly faced themselves, everything would change. But change is terrifying. And so, they stay where they are, convincing themselves that the world they know is all there is, that the walls around them are real, that the system is unshakable. But it is not. It is a house of cards, held together only by belief. And the moment you stop believing in it, the moment you stop feeding it with your energy, it begins to crumble. This is the power they fear. Not revolution, not rebellion, but awakening. Because an awakened mind cannot be manipulated. An awakened soul cannot be controlled. An awakened being is beyond fear, beyond limitation, beyond the endless games of the world. And so, the question is not whether you are ready to awaken. The question is, will you dare to step through the veil? There is a moment when everything around you begins to feel unreal. When the structures that once seemed immovable, society, power, belief, begin to show their cracks. You start to see the patterns, the cycles that repeat endlessly, keeping people trapped in the illusion of progress while they remain in the same place. You have walked among them. You have watched them chase shadows, running after dreams that were never their own, hoping that fulfillment awaits just around the corner. But what happens when they reach the end of the road? When they have gathered all they were told to gather, achieved all they were told to achieve, and yet the emptiness remains? Some distract themselves. They drown in entertainment, in work, in pleasure, anything to silence the voice inside that whispers, "This is not it." Others resign themselves, convincing themselves that life is just this way, that longing without satisfaction is simply part of the experience. But then, there are the few. The ones who refuse to settle. The ones who listen to that whisper and follow it, no matter how deep into the unknown it leads them. You have already begun. That is why you are here. The path ahead is not easy. It is not a straight road paved with certainty. It is a descent into the depths of the self, into the hidden corridors of the mind, where the real chains are forged. Because the greatest prison is not made of walls, nor is it guarded by men. It is built within, a prison of belief, a prison of identity, a prison of fear. And you have lived inside it for so long that you forgot the walls existed. You thought they were the edges of reality itself. But now, something within you stirs, a knowing, deep and unshakable, that tells you there is more. So you begin to strip away the layers. You question everything you once accepted without thought. You hold your beliefs up to the light, watching as some dissolve in your hands, revealing the vast emptiness beneath. And for the first time, you feel free. Not because you have found answers, but because you have let go of the need for them. The world has always tried to convince you that security lies in certainty, that to know is to be safe. that to understand is to be in control. But the truth has always been the opposite. Real security lies in surrender, in stepping beyond the mind's need for control and into the space of the unknown. This is where transformation happens. Not in adding more knowledge, more beliefs, more ideas, but in letting them fall away, one by one, until you stand in the rawness of existence itself. And then you begin to see. The world is not what you were told. Reality is not what you assumed. Life is not what you believed. You were never meant to play small. You were never meant to live in fear. You were never meant to follow a path created for you by others. You were meant to awaken. But awakening is not an event. It is not something that happens in a moment, never to be undone. It is a process, a continuous shedding, an endless unfolding. And once it begins, there is no turning back. Because the veil has been lifted, the illusion is broken. And now, all that remains is the journey forward. There comes a point when the illusion of control slips through your fingers. You were taught to believe that if you just did the right things, made the right choices, followed the right path, everything would fall into place. But now, you see that life does not work that way. You have witnessed it, the chaos, the unpredictability, the moments when everything changes in an instant, without warning, without reason. And you have felt it, the fear that creeps in when the world no longer makes sense, when the ground beneath you shakes, when what you thought was certain dissolves into nothing. Most people spend their entire lives fighting this truth. They build walls around themselves, surround themselves with routines, create a sense of stability that is as fragile as a house of cards. They tell themselves that they are in control, that they know who they are, where they are going, what life is about. But deep down, they are afraid of the unknown, afraid of the silence, afraid of the questions that have no answers. But what if you stopped fighting? What if, instead of clinging to the illusion of certainty, you let go? What if you surrendered to the vastness of existence, allowed yourself to dissolve into the mystery, embrace the truth that you do not know, and that you never needed to? Because knowledge is a cage. It convinces you that the world is small, that reality can be measured, that life can be explained. But the moment you step beyond it, you realize the world is infinite. There are no walls. There are no boundaries. There is only endless possibility. And in that space, you begin to see that everything you were looking for was never outside of you. It was never in achievements, or in recognition, or in answers. It was in the experience itself, in the rawness of the present moment, in the act of being fully alive. You start to notice the way the wind moves through the trees, the way the sun feels against your skin, the way each breath is a miracle, a gift, an entire universe unfolding within you. And for the first time, you feel something you have not felt since you were a child. Wonder. Because the world is not ordinary. It never was. You were just taught to stop seeing it. So you begin to unlearn, to strip away everything that was placed upon you, every belief, every label, every identity that was never truly yours. You become lighter, freer, as if a weight you had carried for lifetimes is finally lifted. And then you reach a point where you are no longer afraid of the unknown. Because you have become it, you stand at the edge of the infinite, looking out into the vast unknown, and something within you stirs. It is not fear, nor is it anxiety. It is something deeper, something ancient, a knowing, a remembrance. For so long, you were told who you were supposed to be, given a name, a role, a set of expectations to fulfill. You were shaped by the hands of the world before you even had a chance to shape yourself. But now, standing here, stripped of all illusions, you begin to see the truth. You were never meant to fit into a mold. You were never meant to be confined to a singular identity, to a singular story. You were meant to be vast, expansive, ever-changing, like the tides of the ocean, like the movement of the stars. And as you surrender to this truth, something shifts within you. The need to be understood, to be validated, to be seen in a certain way. It all begins to fade. You no longer search for yourself in the reflections of others. You no longer seek approval in the eyes of the world, because you have found something far greater. Stillness. Not the kind of stillness that is empty, but the kind that is full, alive, overflowing with a presence so vast that it encompasses everything. You realize that the universe has never been separate from you. It has always been within you. You are the vastness, the silence between the stars, the breath of the wind, the rhythm of the waves. And in this moment, you understand. There is no destination. There never was. You were not put here to arrive somewhere, to complete a checklist, to achieve something that proves your worth. You were put here to experience, to taste, to feel, to touch the depths of existence itself. And as you let go of the need to chase, the need to become, you find yourself fully here in the only place you were ever meant to be, this moment. And this moment is enough. The world you once knew now seems distant, like a dream fading upon waking. The rigid structures of identity, the weight of expectations, the ceaseless striving for something beyond your reach, all of it crumbles, like sand slipping through your fingers. You no longer cling to the illusion that you must be someone specific to be worthy of this existence. The shackles of external validation lose their grip, and in their absence, something remarkable takes shape. Freedom. Not the kind of freedom the world promises, not the fleeting freedom found in possessions, achievements, or recognition, but the kind of freedom that has always been yours, buried beneath layers of conditioning. A freedom that does not ask for permission. A freedom that does not need justification. As you stand at the threshold of this realization, the universe itself seems to take notice. The air around you grows still, as if holding its breath. The sky stretches endlessly above, and you sense that you are not merely observing it. You are it. There is no separation, no boundary where you end and the vastness begins. The stars, the galaxies, the unseen forces that weave the fabric of reality, all of them exist within you, and you within them. The illusion of self dissolves like mist before the rising sun, revealing what has always been. You are not just the wave, you are the ocean. You are not just a fleeting moment in time, you are the timeless expanse from which all moments arise. And in this knowing, something ancient within you stirs, a recognition of what you have always been but had long forgotten. For so long, you believed that you were incomplete, that you needed to accumulate something, knowledge, status, love, approval, to become whole. But now you see the truth. The search was never about finding something external. It was about remembering that you were never broken, never lacking. The feeling of emptiness that haunted you was not because something was missing, but because you had been looking in the wrong place. The world told you to seek fulfillment outside of yourself, but the entire time, the source of everything you longed for was within you. It had always been within you. As this understanding deepens, you feel an immense weight lifting. The pressure to prove yourself vanishes. The desperate grasping for meaning dissipates. There is no longer a need to chase, to struggle, to force your way through life as if existence itself were something to be conquered. The realization washes over you like a tidal wave. There is nothing to attain, because there is nothing missing. The life you thought you had to build, the person you thought you had to become, were only illusions keeping you from seeing the boundless reality of what you already are. You are not on a journey towards something greater. You are already it. And yet, the paradox remains. Though there is nowhere to go, no final destination to reach, the experience of life continues. The river does not stop flowing simply because it realizes it is water. The sun does not cease to shine simply because it knows it is light. And so, you continue moving, not because you are incomplete, but because existence is an ever-unfolding dance. You are no longer driven by the need to escape or arrive. You move because movement itself is the expression of life. You breathe not because you must, but because each breath is a gift, an offering, a reminder that you are here, in this moment, in this endless unfolding of now. And in this moment, there is peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on external circumstances, not the fragile peace that shatters when the world does not conform to your desires, but the kind of peace that is unshakable, a peace that remains, even in the face of uncertainty, a peace that does not ask for guarantees or assurances, a peace that is rooted in something far deeper than the ever-changing waves of life. This peace does not come from control, from trying to mold reality to fit your expectations. It comes from surrender, from trusting that you do not need to grip onto life with clenched fists. It comes from opening your hands, your heart, your very being, and allowing existence to flow through you without resistance. And as you surrender, as you stop fighting against the current, you begin to see the beauty that was always there. The sunlight filtering through the trees, the laughter of a child, the stillness of the night, the endless expanse of the sky. All of it takes on a new depth, a new richness. Life no longer feels like something you must figure out, something you must conquer or master. It is simply something to be lived, to be experienced in all its raw, unfiltered reality. The joys, the sorrows, the uncertainties, the unknowns, all of them are part of the same vast, intricate dance. And you are not separate from this dance. You are it. There is no final answer, no grand revelation waiting at the end of the road. There is only this moment, this breath, this infinite unfolding of now. And in this moment, you realize you do not need to seek anything more, because this, right here, is enough. It has always been enough, and it always will be. There is a stillness in this understanding, a silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. It is a silence that does not demand explanation, that does not seek validation. It simply is. And in this silence, you recognize the truth that has always been there, waiting for you to notice. Not through effort, not through striving, but through surrender. You let go of the need to define yourself, to label yourself, to mold yourself into something the world can categorize and understand. You are no longer a collection of titles, of roles, of achievements. You are something far greater, something that cannot be contained within mere words. The illusion of separation begins to fade. You see that there is no you and the world. There is only this vast, interconnected existence, weaving itself into an infinite tapestry, The lines you once thought were so clear, the boundaries that seemed so solid, dissolve like mist under the warmth of the rising sun. You were never separate. You were never alone. The trees, the rivers, the mountains, the stars, they are not things outside of you. They are reflections of the same essence that breathes within you. And in this recognition, you understand what it means to truly belong, not to a place, not to a person, but to existence itself. Time begins to lose its grip. The past, the future, concepts that once held so much weight now seem distant, irrelevant. You are not bound by the regrets of yesterday or the anxieties of tomorrow. You exist here, now, in this eternal present, where life is always unfolding. The mind, which once raced ceaselessly in search of meaning, grows quiet. There is nothing left to figure out, nothing left to prove. There is only the experience of being. And in this experience, you find something you never expected. Joy. Not the fleeting kind that comes from momentary pleasures, but a deeper, more profound joy. A joy that does not rely on anything outside of itself. A joy that simply exists because existence itself is enough. You see now that the struggles, the pain, the hardships, they were never punishments, never obstacles meant to break you. They were the very things that led you here, to this understanding. They were the chisel shaping the stone, revealing the masterpiece that had been hidden beneath all along. You do not wish them away. You do not resent them. You honor them, for they were part of the path. And the path was never wrong. Everything you once feared losing, everything you once clung to so desperately, seems less important now. You realize that nothing real can ever be lost. Not the essence of who you are, not the connection you share with all of existence. The forms may change, the body, the experiences, the identities you wear for a time, but the essence remains. It has always remained. And in this knowing, fear begins to dissolve. There is nothing to protect, nothing to defend, nothing to hold on to. You are weightless, unburdened by the need to control what was never yours to control in the first place. The river flows, and you flow with it, no longer fighting against the current. Life moves through you, and you allow it to, without resistance, without struggle. And in this allowing, you find something you never expected: peace. A peace that does not waver in the face of uncertainty. A peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. A peace that simply is, because you have stopped fighting against what is. You have stopped searching for something outside of yourself to complete you, because you see now that you were never incomplete. There is nothing more to chase, nothing more to become. You have arrived, not at a destination, but at a realization. And this realization is not an ending. It is the beginning of something new. Not a journey towards something, but a journey into something. A journey into the infinite depths of what it means to simply be, to be present, to be aware, to be alive. And so you walk forward, not because you are trying to get somewhere, but because walking itself is the experience. You breathe, not because you must, but because each breath is an expression of life. You live, not because you are trying to find meaning, but because living itself is the meaning. And in this moment, in this breath, in this infinite now, you understand this is enough. It has always been enough. It always will be. There is a quiet unfolding within, a realization that does not come with fireworks or grand revelations, but rather like the gentle dawn creeping over the horizon. It is not something to be grasped or captured. only witnessed. And as you witness, you begin to understand that you were never truly lost, only momentarily caught in the illusion of forgetting. For so long, you believed that you were something separate, something isolated. You carried the weight of identity, of expectation, of all the stories you had been told about who you are and what you must become. But those stories were never the truth. They were only reflections, shadows cast on the wall of a deeper reality. And now, as the light grows, those shadows fade. There is no past self to mourn, no future self to chase. There is only this presence, this awareness, this undeniable sense of being. And in this being, you feel something deeper than thought, something beyond words. A knowing, not the kind that fills books or shapes philosophies, but the kind that simply is. The kind that does not need to be explained, only lived. You begin to see how life has always been guiding you, even in the moments when you felt abandoned. The struggles, the losses, the unanswered questions. They were not barriers. They were openings. They were invitations to wake up, to remember. And now, you are awake. The world looks different now, though nothing has changed. The trees still sway in the wind. The rivers still carve their way through the land. The stars still burn in the vastness above. But you see them differently. You do not see them as things outside of you, but as echoes of the same essence that moves within you. They are not separate. Nothing ever was. The weight you carried begins to dissolve, not because you forced it away, but because you stopped clinging to it. You stopped believing in the need to carry it. You do not need to hold on to your past, your fears, your regrets. They are not you. They never were. And as you let them go, you feel lighter, as if you have always been meant to float, but never realized you could. There is no more striving, no more endless seeking for something to complete you. Because now you see, you were never incomplete. The search was never for something outside of you. It was always leading you back to yourself. And here you are. What a relief it is to stop running, to stop fighting against the current of life, and instead to allow it to carry you. What a relief it is to trust, not in some external force, but in the simple, quiet intelligence of existence itself. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to control the unfolding of the story. You are the story. You are the unfolding. And that is enough. There is a peace in this, a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a peace that does not waver in the face of uncertainty. It is not the peace of an undisturbed life, but the peace of knowing that even amidst the storms, you remain untouched. You are not the waves. You are the ocean. And as this realization deepens, as it settles into your bones, you find that there is nothing more to say, nothing more to prove. Just the simple, undeniable truth of being. And that is enough. It has always been enough. It always will be.